trying to snap my fingers. I don't know how. How do I not know how to snap my fingers? What's wrong with me? I have no idea. So, The Addams Family 2 was directed by Conrad Vernon, and it stars Charlize Theron, Oscar Isaac, Chloe Grace Moretz, Nick Kroll, Bill Hader, Snoop Dogg of all people, Bette Midler, and once again we have a new adventure involving the Addams family. This time around they decide to go on a family vacation because Gomez fears that his family's just being torn apart. And we have another Addams Family movie. Now, to be honest, I was not really looking forward to this movie. Shocker, I was not looking forward to this movie. The first movie I thought was okay. For what it was okay. It wasn't like something that blew me away, but it was like, I thought it was better than a lot of people were expecting it to be, but that doesn't mean I think it's great. I kind of don't remember a lot of the jokes. I thought the animation was good, and the voice acting was pretty good. But overall, kind of just forgettable movie for the most part. And when they announced the second Addams Family movie, I'm like, yeah, that's what I expected. And the trailers just didn't really interest me. The one trailer had Raiden in it for some reason. What were they thinking? I have no idea. The jokes didn't look interesting. The plot kind of sounded boring. It didn't really look... It just didn't interest me whatsoever. So, no surprise, I saw this movie, and I did not care for it. I really didn't like this movie. The first Addams Family animated movie is fine. This one is just bad. This one is pretty bad. The only things I can say here are the animation's fine. Like, I remember the first one had, like, great details in its animation. This one, it doesn't have any great details. It's just average. It's like, it felt like it was just pulled out of other movies. And the voice acting overall is fine. Nothing is really great. Like, most of the actors do a fine job, and it's not like anyone does a bad job by any means. But it just felt like they never really did anything to, like, make it their own or anything. It's just like, hey, read my lines, and you're good. Okay. And for some reason, they have Snoop Dogg in this voicing a character who's, he voices Cousin It, so his dialogue is sped up. I don't see the point, honestly. Just so you can have Snoop Dogg in your movie? I guess there are worse ways to, like, put him in a movie. But anyway, let's get into what I really didn't like about this movie. So, first off, a lot of the jokes in this movie are bad. They are just lame. They are just... Some of them, they range from, like, very lame to very annoying to even... They even kind of crossed the line for me, personally. There was, like, one double entendre in this movie that made my mouth drop, and I'm like, I can't believe they just went there. This is Cat in the Hat level entendre. Like, oh my god. Like, I can't believe they actually went that far. I won't explain the joke, but it's just so shocking that they actually went for this joke, and I'm like, there's no line this movie can't cross now. And surprisingly, the other line they cross is that they make a joke kind of about the pandemic, and it's like, and considering we're still in the pandemic, I just felt it was in poor taste. I just really think they should have reworked that in some way. But yeah, a lot of the jokes are not that funny. There's like one reoccurring joke involving a man trying to propose to his girlfriend, and it's just not funny. It wasn't funny the first time, and it wasn't funny the second time, and it definitely wasn't funny the third time. It just got annoying after a while. Yeah, also, a lot of the humor kind of comes from, like, torturing people, I felt. Or, like, scaring people. At least in the first movie, like, the Addams Family were, like, they were definitely scaring people, but it was unintentional. This movie, it feels intentional, and it just doesn't work for me. It just felt sadistic. Borderline sadistic, like, yikes. I couldn't believe, like, how much, like, human misery is in this movie. And not in a good way. Not like, like they kind of make fun of it with, the live-action Addams Family movies. But, like, this movie, it just kind of left a poor taste in my mouth. So, anyway, moving on. No one in this movie is likable. At least some of the characters were kind of likable in the first movie, but not really. This one, everyone in this movie is just awful. Morticia and Gomez, they're awful. Wednesday, awful. Uncle Fester's annoying again. Pugsley, not necessarily annoying, but just forgettable. Just the main characters are just unlikable. I'm like, how long can I sit through this movie and say jokes aren't funny and these characters aren't likable? It just did not work for me. Also, the plot is both very generic and very predictable. Just the most bland plot you could think of. Just the most generic outcomes. It just didn't work for me. Like, there were so many times where I predicted something would happen, and it just happened. It just didn't work. It really just didn't work. I can't really say I'm too surprised because this movie's made for kids. But again, I kind of say this whenever I review a bad kids movie. Just because your movie's made for kids doesn't mean you can't try. Just try. Just try to make good jokes. Just try to make likable characters. How hard is that? Really? I hope I don't see another one of these things. And I actually saw this in the theater because I didn't want to pay it to watch it at home for $20. I'm glad I chose the free option. And I never do this with movies. I actually left before the lights went up. I don't do that with movies. I sat all the way through Dear Evan Hansen. And I couldn't make it through this. I left right when they were doing of course there's a montage of credits of like a photo reel or whatever of the families on vacation. And I just left because yeah, nothing else is going to happen. I don't care. Nothing else is going to happen. There's no mid-credit scene that's going to show the Addams family in another universe. I'll talk about Venom in another video. But, oh my god, it was generic, it was unlikable, it wasn't funny, and even the stuff where it's like, okay, that is fine. One, it doesn't even hold up to the first movie, which honestly wasn't that great. And two, it's just serviceable. It just doesn't do anything new. I don't like this movie. I really don't like this movie. And again, you could say it's for kids. But I would argue that there are kids' movies that come out every year that give a damn, that actually cares about entertaining kids and even adults, and actually teaches a lesson and actually puts in effort. This movie is effortless in the worst possible way. I hated it. I felt shame walking into this theater, and I felt shame walking out of the theater. Don't see The Addams Family 2. Don't watch it at home. Don't watch it in the theater. Don't bother. Because the animation is at least passable, and the voice acting is passable enough, I'll give it 1 out of 4 stars. Skip it. How did The Addams Family 2 make me mad? Worse than Dear Evan Hansen, surprisingly. Now, I don't know about that. Just don't bother. So, what did you think of The Addams Family 2? Did you even see it? I don't even have a question to ask. Just comment down below, subscribe to the channel. This is Pat, and stay safe. God, I hate this.